The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Tonight, we are starting with a catalytic converter thefts. Now, there has been a rash of them for the last couple of years. Recently, things really escalated when an off-duty Harris County deputy was approached by three men at a grocery store trying to steal his catalytic converter from his truck. Deputy Darren Almendarez was shot and killed. The precious metals made inside these converters are worth thousands. They're often sold at scrap metal yards and custom auto repair shops for big bucks. Tonight I speak to the owner of C&D Scrap Metal, who says businesses like his are often tied and blamed for this type of crime.
You know, for us at C&D, this is our 43rd year in business, and we don't want anything brought into us that's stolen. And the regulations behind the converter is just absolutely absurd. Just one item, other than aluminum cans, we are required to have 15 steps. With a converter, you can add another 10 to that 15 steps. So we grab 2 fingerprints, a copy of your driver's license, make, model, color, and license plate of your vehicle, a picture of what you sold us, a picture of who paid you, and a picture of who signed that they're the rightful owner of that cell. With the converters, there's another 5 to 6 pictures. You have to put a code written on there. You have to have a receipt of who brought it to you, that they replaced a new converter, or a body shop or a mechanic shop that has the legal right to sell these converters, which I guess is one reason why C&D doesn't buy many of those converters, because we will not buy them without doing each and every one of those steps. It's too much trouble for us. We don't want to take a chance. It's very sad, because what people don't understand is the converter that comes out of your car could be $750 to $10,000 to replace it. And when they're stealing them, they're getting anywhere from $50 to $750 or $1,000 or $800, and they go about doing their business, and you're without a converter in your car. And you'll immediately know once it's been stolen, because of course you're going to turn your engine on, and that's immediately when you, by the exhaust, you're going to know, hey, something's not right here. And in my opinion, and I've seen the police agencies do this quite often.
Before we get to that, Dennis, really quick, there are some businesses around town, around Houston specifically, that advertise, we buy catalytic converters. Do you think they're harming your reputation by doing that? And do we know if they take all the steps that you take to ensure they're not stolen?
You know, I get those same advertisements you're talking about, and you're always going to have a bad apple in every business. And, you know, when we opened up, there were 34 scrap yards in the city of Houston. In 2008, there were over 190. Today, there's probably 130 or 140. And they're not all going to be in compliance. I mean, the city of Houston, we have certain regulations and ordinances, and then you have the state that has their situation. Everything that we purchase has to go to a website called Leads Online, which is every police agency in the United States. And then we have a report that goes to the Texas Department of Public Safety. They only want a 30 or 40% of what Leads Online requires. But this is an agencies that are able to go to Leads Online, and they can look at every single individual purchase of every scrapyard in Houston, if in fact they're following the rules and the ordinances and the guidelines. And that's where you got the problem. You know, money, it's like Kinky Friedman tells me, money may buy a fine dog, but only happiness makes his tail wag. That's all these people want. They just want the money, you know, and they don't care about the wagon. They just, you know, they're going to keep going. It takes you less than 1 minute to cut a converter off of a vehicle. So when a police agency tells you to put a copy of your social or your TDL or your driver's license and paint it a certain color, yes, that may stop it. It certainly is going to stop it from a scrapyard that follows the rules like we do. But other people don't care. And we have to photograph every single thing. But today, from what I understand, they're cutting those open and now they're pulling the cone out of the converter. And the cone is where the platinum and the rhodium and the palladium is located. And when you have
even
rhodium,
if you paint your converter on the exterior, even if you engrave your VIN number on there or some identifying information, that's not what they're looking for anyway. They want to cut it open and get that cone that you're talking about.
right. And that cone is what's got the platinum, the palladium, and the rhodium in it. And as an example, platinum today is $985 an ounce. Palladium is $2,277 an ounce. And here's the kicker. Rhodium, $18,900.
Wow.
An ounce. Wow. An ounce. So if you would look, I don't know if you can picture this, if you can get it, you may be able to. And you can see this, if you'll see that spike right there, that was as soon as the war in Russia started. And then you can see where it fell back down. Rhodium was at $30,000 an ounce. And there's 18, whatever, how many grams to an ounce. So if there's 1 or 2 or 3 grams, you got a lot of money there. And that's what they're after.
Now, we aren't done with this conversation just yet. Up next, hear why law enforcement agencies are being blamed over the spike in thefts by this man you just heard there. We'll be right back. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We're talking catalytic converter thefts tonight. A scrap metal business owner is telling me responsible owners often get pulled into the bad mix of this trend. But he says police are also partly to blame for the spike in thefts.
I mean, I think anytime you advertise, you're advertising for a reason to get people's attention. And when you see a police agency, they're not advertising, but they're telling a story. And they're saying, okay, this vehicle has the most expensive converter in it. This vehicle has 2 converters in it, and this vehicle has 3, 4, or 5 converters in it. Well, if you don't know what you're doing and all you're doing is stealing, you're going to probably want to listen to that news story and go, oh, those cars have it in it. That car has 3 or 4 converters in it. I mean, it's a problem. You know, you'll recall, and I've been in this business for 52 years, and you'll recall in 08 and 09 when copper went up to almost $5 a pound, which is where it is almost at today. And everybody was losing AC units, and they're losing all because when the prices of scrap go up, theft is going to become an issue. Not all scrap yards are following those guidelines. We do not play games. We're lily white, and we don't want you bringing your stolen material to us. And if we know it's stolen, you're out of here. We don't want it anyway. You come in there with the C&D scrap with a converter, it's got markings on it. If it doesn't match your paperwork that you just bought a new one and your serial number, done, out of here. Probably why I only buy 50, maybe 500 total converters a year, because I'm very picky, and I only go and I seek the ones that are legitimate. And the other ones are seeking the ones they don't care how they come. And it's a problem. But the more we advertise right now, even doing a story of such, is what advertises, is what gets it out to the people that are bad, that are out there making this happen, and then giving us a bad name because there are bad apples in our industry.
Dennis, what we heard from Ray Hunt with the Houston Police Officers Union last week was he called this a sort of organized crime.
This is organized crime. This isn't some crackhead out here stealing it. This is a business for these folks. This is what they do for a living.
And then when you think many of these thieves, when you think about a thief, they're just kind of hitting and moving. But these guys, when they're getting these catalytic converters, they're armed and they're shooting back. And that may lend to the idea that this could be organized crime, like Ray Hunt is saying.
But I don't know what organized crime he's taught. You mean as far as scrap metal dealers are concerned?
Yeah.
I would never agree with Ray Hunt on that. I know Ray, I would never agree with that. There's no organized crime in a legitimate business. You got a whole lot of people out there. Let me tell you something. The city of Houston came up with ordinances. And the county's a whole different ballgame. So if you were driving southbound on 45 and you decided to exit College Boulevard, you're in South Houston. At one point, they didn't have to have any records taken. But if you made a write-off of 45 into the city of Houston, you were required to do those 15 steps in order to buy something from someone. So you've got agencies that one doesn't know what the other one is doing. They have no clue. We have a scrap metal detail police agency in the city of Houston that's in charge of scrap, you know, and they are the ones that should be doing the policing. At the end of the day, in my opinion, I'm the police officer, because once you've sold me scrap, I've done everything. And if you've stolen something, officer, here's the merchandise and here's all the information you need. They don't need to get any more information. I have their fingerprints, their IDs, I have their car, I have everything that they need. They just need to make the arrest and look for the bad guys and stop looking at the scrap dealers, which I think is what Ray Hunt, to say something like that's ridiculous, okay? It just proves to me that he doesn't really think about what a private business sector is and that not all of us are thieves. Does that mean that there are no bad police officers? There's no bad cops? There's no bad reporters, Isaiah? I mean, we all have that tree of bad apples, but to sit there and say there's organized crime without having the information that says this is organized, Ray Hunt has no business saying something like that, in my opinion.